Good morning, kids. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Connie X about what was Double Armor Digivolution cancelled in Digimon Adventures 02. Well, let's hop in and see what Con is talking about, because we know he's talked about it in the past, but we actually don't know if it was ever even canonized. So let's go.
So the other day I was looking at the box for my Hawkmon Armor Digivolution figure when I noticed something interesting.
Oh my god, what is that?
The toy line really encouraged kids to mix and match the figures, to kind of use two sets of armor toy figures to make freakish armor abominations. Which reminded me of a video I made a good while back specifically talking about Double Armor Digivolution in 02. And now looking at those toys and thinking about it more, I'm starting to think that that legitimately was the intention, and that Toei or Bandai did cancel Double Armor Digivolution.
Damn, and it would have been so cool.
What is up, Digital Companions? My name is Khan EX.
Hold on, folks. Small cut. And we're back.
My name is Khan EX and welcome back to a theory video. It's been a while. So yes, of course, looking at this concept from the back of the Armor Digi-Egg figures, we do have this concept of mix and matching Armor Digimon. Now, of course, this could be totally toy line exclusive, but to me it kind of feels almost like a trial form. Maybe when they only each have one Digi-Egg, Davis and Cody would try mixing and matching and get weird forms. But when Davis finally gets two Digi-Eggs of his own, Courage and Friendship, that could have led to an Armor Fusion, a pure Armor Fusion, similar to Sagittariusmon visually. Here's the straight up. With Digimon and basically any property for kids, gimmicks 9 times out of 10 are to sell toys. Armor did that, Jogress did that, Card Slash, Spirit Evolution barcodes, the list goes on. And usually the forms that are accessible with Digimon toys are referenced in the show to kind of sell more toys in a cycle. The show has something which then leads the kids to buy the toy. The toy then has something they haven't seen in the show yet, which they then see in the show, making them want to buy more of the toys. And it goes on and on and so on. And this idea of trial forms is not exclusive to Digimon. There are other Bandai JP toy lines that do have this, but they're a much less marketed feature normally. They're not right there on the box. You know, technically you could put a Joker and Joker memory in a Kamen Rider Double Driver and it would work. It wouldn't make unique sounds or be show accurate, but it could be done. It's not one of the main things demonstrated to be done with the toy, you know? It's not a top billing feature to do a non-show accurate form. Or in cases like Kamen Rider Build, they're expressly demonstrated not to be something that works. If you put in 2 full bottles of the same type, it'll shout out their names on either side of the build driver, but you won't get a unique sound.
And unfortunately, nothing new.
Generally, non-canon forms in Bandai Japan toys, I would say, are things you can try in toy lines, but they're very rarely used to actually specifically market the figure, unlike this armor mixing situation. Though I will admit this is completely...
I mean, yeah, it does just make sense. You try someone out as a toy, and depending on how many it sells, you either add it to the show, or you can the whole thing and never speak of it. Like many shows have done for centuries. Okay, not centuries, decades.
Anecdotal, I don't have hard evidence for this. I'm sure there are other toys, maybe even other Digimon toys, where they encourage non-standard, non-show canon forms. It probably does happen, but it still feels like it sticks out to me. Now sure, there are things like Zord Builder that Bandai US did that was kind of an example of the inverse. Non-show accurate forms being enabled, mixing your Dino Charge Zords with Zords from other series, but Bandai JP had never really had that feature. Kyoryu Mecha were not compatible with previous or following seasons, other than, you know, by doing it yourself with a kit bash. So why was this feature baked into the Armor Digivolving toys, and why was it pushed so heavily? It shares almost equal square footage with the canon show forms on the back of literally every Armor figure box.
Right.
Weirdly, with the first wave, Flamedramon and Halcymon elements specifically are combined. Kinda sounds like Jogress or DNA Digivolution, huh? What if the show was at one point going to explore a much more mix and match style of DNA Digivolution or Armor Fusion? Almost Digicross style for 02, but then it was abandoned.
You know,
probably because while it worked very easily in the toy line, animating a bunch of different mix and matches for the 02 kids would have been impossible, or at least cost a lot of money. In fact, the show does explore this concept. When the kids are talking about potential evolutions, we get things like Mega Dancermon, or the imagined Silhouette fusions, which did not come to be. Stay tuned for future videos. This idea of DNA Digivolution, or indeed Armor Fusion, being very mix and match, very fluid, something the kids could throw together for different situations would be really cool. And it would lend that idea to Armor Digivolution being a little bit more free. For example, hey, Armadillomon becomes Submarimon, but they're in a frozen tundra area of the digital world, so it needs a Flamedramon spike that is fiery to kind of punch through the ice and melt it. Situations like that. But again, would have cost a lot more in animation and character design. And they still could have had best matches, like Paildramon, Sylphimon, and Shakuamon for the general Jogress, and for Armor Fusion, well, yes, my front runner, Sagittariusmon. Now, I know there are some people who don't like Sagittariusmon as an Armor Fusion, don't see it, I don't know how, but I do appreciate some of the arguments against it, and I'm going to present them here. Some of those main arguments are that clearly Sagittariusmon has the Hope crest on him, and it being based on a centaur, specifically Sagittarius, the namesake of the constellation and Greek myth, does align very well with the Crest of Hope, whose main Armor Digivolution form is
Pegasusmon. Yeah, okay, I see it.
Pegasusmon, based on the Pegasus of Greek myth and the Pegasus constellation. But even so, Sagittariusmon is such a weird outlier for Hope Armor Digivolutions. Look at all of these other Hope armors. I mean, sure, they're all a little bit weird in comparison, but they all kind of work.
Actually, all of them seem to be quadrupedal creatures, with Sagittariusmon being the only one that actually has a set of arms. I mean, everyone else is on 4 legs. Like, he's got 4 legs and 2 arms. He's the outlier. I mean, it's still awesome as hell.
Feel similar. 4-legged creatures, Crest of Hope in some instances, Oryxmon, for example, I think is a really great Hope armor. Bullmon kinda works. And then Sagittariusmon, well, yes, it does have 4 legs. It's also the only centaur of the bunch. Where do these flame pauldrons come from, which to me just completely shout Flamedramon? Where does the lightning horn and black helmet come from other than Raydramon? Something I was thinking is that perhaps it's supposed to indicate that Vmon has gained the traits of the friendship and courage Digimentals and can kind of use that data going forward. Remnant data inside his Digicode allows him to access those when using the Digi-Egg of Hope, but also that kind of doesn't make any sense because then surely wouldn't like Magnamon also have traits of Flamedramon and Raydramon? I mean, I guess it kind of looks like a golden version of Flamedramon if you squint. This idea of the Digimental being encoded into the Digimon's DNA when they use it enough is a really fun idea, but not something the show ever actually explored. To me, it makes a lot more sense that Sagittariusmon was a design meant to mix the humanoid Flamedramon and the quadrupedal Raydramon into a design that references both, aka a centaur, half man, half beast. But when they didn't get to use it for the show, they repurposed it, realized that centaurs exist in Greek myth, Sagittarius is a constellation, it works fine. Also, if we look at the other Vmon armors, who are largely the best designed Armor Digivolutions of the bunch, they don't carry that same mix of Flamedramon and Raydramon that we do see specifically in Sagittariusmon. Kangaroomon has no flame decals, no lightning horn. Honeybeemon is a cute little Vmon in knowledge armor. They have the Vmon underneath, but not so much those Flamedramon and Raydramon elements. While I am absolutely not saying any of this is confirmed, it is all just a theory, a Digimon theory. I see you r/Digimon, and I very deeply appreciate the compliment, but I don't think MatPat's ever going to do a video with me. I just almost certainly feel like
no, that would be actually amazing. MatPat and Connie X teaming up for one theory video. That would almost be as cool as when he actually did a theory video and had Dan Harmon, aka one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty, on one of the film theory episodes.
Fusion or experimenting with the idea of Jogress was on someone's mind at Bandai or Toei Creative at the time. It also makes sense to me that Vmon would get his Double Armor Digivolution designed first. He's the protagonist mon of the season in most ways, the Gogglehead partner, so his designs would likely get made first. Like I say, the Vmon Armor Digivolutions are the best looking of the bunch, and that's probably because they were made closer to the time of 02, so they do what the show does, trying to make it look like the rookie is under the armor form, whereas a lot of armors for 02 partners that we see after the show are really very loosely connected, like Mambomon is a light armor. Okay, Sunfish, I know, whatever. So with that said, those Vmon armors being the best of the bunch.
Hold on, if it's meant to be a Sunfish, why the hell does it have damn boxing gloves? Is he gonna punch you with the power of the sun?
The most show accurate or lore accurate, it would also make sense to me that if an idea was going to be explored that was then cancelled due to time, budget, it not working for the flow of the show, his Double Armor Fusion would be the one that would get designed first. And it's why Flamedramon specifically gets shown to be merging with the others on the boxes. He's the main guy, and he's also probably the first one that would try a fusion trial form. And interestingly, as the other 02 Armor Digi-Egg figures did come out, in Japan, they still kept this on the box art. It's not something that they got rid of. You can see it in the Submariner Submarimon, Shurimon, even Pegasusmon box arts. Sadly, the Nefertimon figure, while it was pre-produced, was never actually put into full production, so we never got it. Possibly because they didn't think they'd make enough money from the line, which again would indicate that, yeah, maybe at one point they thought the armors were going to be the biggest selling thing of 02, so they tried to engineer a situation where armors could fuse to sell more toys, then realized that armor maybe wasn't as successful as they'd hoped, and then pivoted much stronger into the idea of evolving further, using the champion forms unlocked after the Dark Towers were felled, creating Pyldramon, Shakuamon, and Sylphimon, and repurposing the idea of melding two Digimon instead of in Digimental or Digi-Eggs, but literally two Digimon. I have no evidence or proof of this. We are not privy to...
They kept the jog rest, but just removed the Alma from it, so it was just, you know, two Digimon, no Alma included.
Very much behind the scenes information on the production of Digimon seasons other than Tamers, but even then, the lowdowns and the things that changed along the way, we generally don't get to know. But looking at this box art, looking at Sagittariusmon, this alternate world starts to form in my head where Armor Digivolution did get to double that. Like I say, with this trial form idea, which is kind of ridiculous looking, before settling on best matches, if you will. It would even fold in Why Hope and Light as such counterparts. Davis gets 2 eggs, Yoli gets 2 eggs, Cody gets 2 eggs. They each fuse their own eggs, but then Hope and Light could fuse together. We could get a cool Patamon, Gatomon armor fusion. There's a lot to explore there, which they probably never will. I think just could have happened. But ultimately, it's a knife edge, right? There are a ton of arguments as to why, and I can also see a ton of arguments as to why it's complete hokum. So let me know in the comments down below your opinion on all this. No one's objectively right, and until someone at Bandai or Toei who worked at the time can tell us everything that happened and went down at that point, we'll probably never know. But a second point to that, would you want this to have happened? Do these funky little trial forms look cool to you, and would you have liked to have seen them? And would you like to have seen Sagittariusmon for Vmon, and then a Submarimon Digmon fusion, a Shurimon Halcymon fusion in 02 itself, maybe a fusion of Pegasusmon and Nefertimon? Well, if you do want to see what armor fusions might look like, that video I did do a few years ago, I used some custom art from a very talented artist. You should definitely go check that out. They're very cool. And maybe we'll revisit the concept in a custom art in future, though I've got a different custom art plan for 02. Actually, about 4 custom arts for 02 planned for the rest of the year. You shout out to my sponsor for this video, Whatnot, by the way. I know sponsors click off, but you really don't want to.
Well, let's see. Gonna be the ad, then he gives thanks. So that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.